Welcome, busy gamers. Today we're going to be looking at Power Chord. If you're already familiar with my First Look series, feel free to skip straight to the gameplay or the discussion section. And if you're looking for my full review, I'm going to be putting that in the end card and the show notes as soon as it's posted. What's a first look? For me, those first few minutes of a game are very crucial. They set the tone, they determine if a game is going to grab me. So for this series, I'm going to be bringing you along when I first step foot into the game. I'll put a timer up and play it for just 30 minutes. As I play, I'm going to be giving you my live thoughts and reactions before giving you a short summary at the end. So why did I choose Power Chord? It was developed and published by Big Blue Bubble, and it is a rock and roguelike. I know, the pun is a stretch, but they used it themselves. Now, this game sets you to the task of assembling Earth's mightiest musicians against a horde of demons in a true Pick of Destiny style. To play, you're going to be assembling a band, and each character in that band will have a starting deck of cards that has its own unique style and musical flavor. Once you've picked your characters, you're going to set off discovering new cards as you progress between stages, upgrading your instruments to increase your card's effectiveness. Now, you want to be careful to an extent because if a character falls in battle, they're going to be lost in all future levels unless you're able to revive them or until you fail that run and completely start over again. As a big fan of games like Slay the Spire, Across the Obelisk, and Monster Train, as well as someone who grew up listening to a lot of rock music, this blend of mechanism and music made it an automatic try for me. So, will this game be worthy of a standing ovation, or will it just be one note? Off we go to see. All right into it with some heavy metal guitar music. The vibe is fine. I think it's interesting. I like the general theme of guitarists versus demons. It kind of has that old school, stereotypical, metal is evil, rock is evil, fighting vibe. So I find that interesting. We'll kind of see how it goes from here. All right, introducing Boar Ironcast, the Last Thunder Fist. We've got deal 1 damage 2 times to a single enemy, add 5 armor to an ally, and we've got a gear item. Summon a barrier card at the start of battle, and then every third hit done by this character. So that seems like that's just going to be a constant power. Barrier is a free, add a barrier charge to a single ally. I assume that's just one block. We'll see. Okay, yeah, basically he's just a defender. It seems like, yeah, barriers will block an entire hit. So not just one armor, it is one version of immunity. We've got our second character, so we're not really getting to pick our band here to start off. Just get your intro with two guys. Grimner Brawl Fist, the Rage Brewer, so I'm going to guess this is the DPS of the two. He has a true axe, it looks like. Draw blood, deal 5 damage to a single enemy, gain 3 rage charges. Rage charge for each damage taken on hit is his. Rage deals back by extra damage, so it looks like rage is kind of a counter. Deal 4 rage damage to a single enemy. I'm not really sure why rage damage is something. So what is rage damage versus normal damage? We'll have to see in gameplay. It didn't really explain that very well. Demon's Plan. Okay, so you're going to be able to see what things are happening. Slam is just deal 3 damage to an enemy. And then the rest of this is kind of the... I don't know if this is like position 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so he's attacking Grimner, and so that's in position 2. I think that could have been clearer, or it could have just been marked over here. I don't know how necessary that is. Use cards to attack. We have 4 energy, which is kind of on a pick over here. Okay, so first impressions of kind of the way this is set up. I'm not sure all of this couldn't be a little more zoomed in. We've got a lot of dead black area over here that I don't love. We've got your items shown, your health shown. Health is in different color for the Iron Fist. I'm not sure. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and we'll just put a barrier charge on him so he can't take damage. Then let's go ahead and deal some damage here and get some rage charges. Rage charges consumed to increase the damage of rage damage spells by 1 per charge. Does not count down unless spent. Okay. Deal 1 damage 2 times to a single enemy, or add armor. This is already being blocked, so there's no point in that. The problem being that like I have the energy and need to be able to play this. It doesn't look like I can redraw it. There's no button that shows me to redraw it. So I guess there's no real point in not adding armor here. We'll just add it. It'll go up to 10. We'll see if armor goes away. It didn't really explain that to us yet, so we'll have to check that. Now I do have a rage stack, so we're going to see if that does counter. We'll end our turn. He will do the attack. It blocks it. My rage charges still went up even though I blocked it, but it did not do any return damage. So I feel like the explanation of rage was done maybe a little poorly. This would do 10 rage damage because it would consume my 6 stacks. We only need to do 5 damage to win though. So we're just going to use our energy here, dealing 5 damage and be done. I don't mind the little animations. I think that's kind of solid. The background rock music is good. All in all, that's fine. I think for now, okay feel. But right now it's just a little generic. So we're going to get a healer, it looks like. Closest to a healer or a hero. Should have read instead of just listened to that. I like the generic looks, not generic looks, the general looks of these guys here. Kind of like a knight. You got this like Scottish guy. New challenger blocks a screeching minion. Weak singers that can't hold a note alone, but can tower up the entire demon band. Okay, so there's our buffers. Stitch, arterial bite, gross. So deal 2 damage and heal for up to 4 if it dealt damage to actual health. Health damage, okay, that's clear. Grant 2 power charges to an ally, increases damage dealt per hit, decays by 1 per turn. So right now, none of this is outside of the standard kind of buffs that you would see in any other game. It's just rethemed. So I'd like to see maybe a little bit more uniqueness here. I like that they start with items. I think that's kind of nice. There's a stock item. Gain 1 blood charge for each health damage dealt. Stores up to 30. When it plays a support card, consume up to 4 as healing. Okay. Self-appointed medic takes as much health as she gives. Okay, so probably heals by doing damage, basically. Power up bandmites while healing them, uses blood charges. So I don't really know how that's powering up them. It does seem like for now, it's primarily healing based on the 3 cards I see. Also, is it just the 3 cards they have or not? That's going to be interesting. Going to need to build charges to gain up momentum in a fight. Charges count down by 1 per turn, so make sure you use them. Okay. Okay, so he's going to get she's going to get attacked. We're going to put a barrier on her. It's free. You would always do that. You only had 3 cards to start each round. I don't know how I feel about that. Grant 2 power charges to the ally band. I don't know what the symbology is. Maybe that's just 2 power charges. I don't love the symbology here. If you mouse over it, that seems okay, but I don't love the symbology on that. Okay, so this is color-coded, so it is indeed 1, 2, 3, and 4 from left to right, and then it's color-coded by your health. It's messy for me. It's clear, but it's messy. Grant 2 power charges to a single ally. We are clearly going to be granting power charges to the person who does the most damage. Gain 1 damage 2 times to a single enemy. There's no reason not to attack the buffer first, I feel like. I probably could have made that do 2 damage and 2 damage by granting the power charge. So that probably would have been better. We have an exhaust pile. Cannot be played again during it. Unstable. Okay, so unstable means exhausted. I would have preferred it just say exhausts when play instead of, again, adding yet another keyword, which isn't necessary. You might notice that I'm going to be a little bit harsher on deck builder games than I am on some others. I play a lot of deck builders, and so I feel like you really need to stand out here. We have our exhaust pile. We have our discard pile. I do like that you have easy access to those things. A draw pile. So we truly only have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards total in our deck. That feels awkward. We also just didn't even spend all our energy. We just don't have that many cards. We're blocking all the damage, though. We're getting some buffs, so now we're doing 5 damage and 3 damage. This will all be blocked, so we don't really have a concern there. We have no damage. Let's go ahead and give those power charges here again. So that should go up to 8. Yep, 8 to a single and gain 3 rage charges, and then we can burn the rage, but we won't have enough energy. So we're going to give armor here so we don't take any damage whatsoever, and then we're going to deal 8 damage. We're actually going to overkill this guy. I think it's just better. It's just better. I don't know. It's blocked either way. I think it's just better to go ahead and kill him out. As a general rule, I would typically just go ahead and kill an enemy versus leave things up. Animations are fine. You can see the trigger of the flasks and things of that nature, which I appreciate. Since their decks are so small, you are actually getting things back very quickly. We have 7 damage already. And make that go to 9. Let's see if we can make it go to 12 without doing anything else here. We have 4, so 9, 10, 11 is what we can get here. 10, 11 is what we can get here. If we augment here, 1 damage 2 times, that should be 3 damage 2 times. So let's actually augment him and see how that works. If I'm correct, yep, we now do 6 damage here, and then we can take him out with draw blood, and we can just be done with it here. So it is indeed better to grant power charges to somebody with multiple instances of damage because you're getting that buff twice. 1 more to go and we're done. Probably with the tutorial type things. Graffiti Ghost. Okay, I kind of like the like that general idea. Is he a bad guy or a good guy? He's a good guy. He's going to join our team. You know, it's all metal and everything. I don't know how I feel about it just being like, so F them up. I feels forced. I don't have any problem with curse words. It just feels a little forced, especially because it's, you know, censoring it and everything anyway. We now have a bodyguard. I like the way they're introducing the enemies, though. Spotlight stealing armored brutes. These drummers will take hits meant for other demons. So it's probably going to be the tank either taunting me or jumping in the way. We'll see how that mechanic works. Shinobi 13. All right, we've got 3 extra cards. We're going to be, well, 2 extra cards actually we're going to be adding in, and then a gear item. So 1 damage 3 times to random enemies. This will be good buffed with power. Inflict poison charges. Health damage at the start of turn. So the same way poison's going to work in virtually every other deck builder or game. Faceless member of a venomous paint clan who manipulates toxins. Shinobi 13 will add extra toxins to an enemy as well as poison or corrosion applied. So every time you hit somebody, it adds poison. So this dice roll will be good. It does look like hit, not does health damage. So that's interesting. I do like to see that. And there is poison or corrosion. So corrosion does armor damage, poison does health damage. Yeah, could be clearer, but is good. I like that mechanic. Alright, so we've got 1 attack coming in here. We're probably just going to go ahead and give that barrier. So again, this has just protector and stance, but then the symbology on this white is awkward. I think that's probably just saying like it's going to affect both of them, and it's white because it's a buff. But like, I just do not really appreciate that clarity or that particular symbology. So stance is going to guard the ally and gain up to 8 armor. It will remain active until they get health damaged. Guarded, characters being guarded from a direct attack. Okay, that's fine. So he's basically guarding himself anyway, it looks like. It doesn't really look like it's casting a guard there, but we can use poison on that. So we're just, it's going to force us to do that. We'll go ahead and poison the bodyguard, completing what it asks us to do. We are going to augment. So we're going to just do a barrier here to prevent damage, I believe. We're going to augment here, probably. I'm going to augment here because he has those multi-attacks that I'd like to use later. And for now, I don't think it's really going to be too relevant. We'll then go ahead and attack here. We'll let some damage leak through before he gets guarded. free damage on the bodyguard, bypassing the armor, which is nice. Stances, the demon is entered a guard stance. Stance effects less until health damage. Okay, that's fine. Break through a demon's armor to stun it. Okay, so if you break armor, you will stun something. Armor refills after battle, but you won't heal unless you find a rest stop on the map. Okay. So I will start with this armor, or like if I have it, it doesn't go away at the end of the turn. That is different than some other games. I am used to armor just going away, and so that is definitely something that I kind of had in my head. Deal 2 damage 3 times. I can augment that again, so that would end up being deal 4 damage 3 times. We are 100% doing that, especially because he's also going to be applying poison. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do this as well. I don't know why I have to select at all, since it is random. So we managed to do health and it poisoned. He was able to block everything no matter what though, but we can then do our 7 rage damage and stop this 3 here. I think that means he's stunned. I'm not sure what those question marks are, but since I did health damage, I believe that means he's stunned. So we shouldn't take any damage at all. Maybe that makes him confused and unknown. Poisoned, and we're done. Very easy tutorial. I think I'm probably thinking through a lot of things that I'm gonna care about later in the game that I don't inherently need to care about now. But I think it's good to go ahead and set yourself up for success in games like this. I didn't pay enough attention to the story here. They've kept the Chronocaster up in a tower somewhere. Apparently the good guys technically have it, and we are defending them. Okay, so tutorial's done. You're now climbing a tower to get the Chronocaster yourself to protect it. And here is a little bit more what you expect out of a roguelike deck builder. You've got the pathways just like you would in Slay the Spire, along the obelisk, etc. Not knowing a ton about things so far, we just have mystery events or chests, and then we have rest sites, recover health, raise the dead. Then we have little mini bosses here, it looks like. It's early on in the game. We'd probably choose healing. It's a roguelike, so I assume we'll get better over time, but healing may be important early on. Mystery events, while being fun, are typically kind of problematic early on, as you don't know what they are. So we have different roles here. We've got like guitarist, bassist, singer, and drummer. I'm wondering, as you find additional heroes, if those are going to be the classes, or if everything is just going to be unique. It does look like the bassist and the drummer start with armor, though I have not yet figured out if it's something that I can give them armor and that will just last. It almost feels that way. So this seems irrelevant. Let's just go ahead and choose and get going. Versus... Alright, the Wingman. Bassists gain power while raining down attacks on your entire band. Alright. And then we have a buffer. So minor damage to everybody and a buffer. So he effectively has 13 health with that armor. Not too big of a deal either way. 1 damage to everything plus 2 there. What do we wish to do? So we don't have our buff. 1 damage 3 times to random enemies. This should just apply some poison, which I feel like is nice. We're probably going to be doing that for 1 of our 4. Our barrier is going to be free, so we're probably just going to go ahead and slide that here for 2. We're going to armor up here because we just don't wish to take any damage, giving us 3 left to play with. The 3 left to play with is going to be 1 damage to random enemies, 1, 2, and 3. We should see some poison out of that, or I thought we would see poison out of that. Poison or corrosion every time you're hit. So why we now don't see that happen is confusing to me. And then we can deal 5 damage. We can't really kill either of these guys. It's probably reasonable to go ahead and just remove his armor, since I can't kill them regardless. I don't think it matters, honestly. We'll go ahead and do it here, leaving 1 just because later we can do some splash damage to get rid of that. He'll get some rage charges, just getting a little stronger. And this should just be very easy to finish. We're going to do our dice roll again. We'll go through that. Okay, so I took the armor off. The armor just respawned on the turn. Build power, and what is this like little happy face? I think it means that it only affects him, potentially. His stance only affects him. Okay, so we will then just be doing a poison to give him poison. Power increased damage dealt per hit, decays by 1 per turn. Okay. And 2 power charges. We're going to grant the power to him because he's going to be doing the dice roll. And then we have 3 damage 3 times. So even if it hit here all 3 times, we would be good to go. We have 2 left, so we're going to be able to do 1 damage 2 times to a single enemy. I think we do the dice roll second. Yeah, we actually go ahead and just kill him here, and then we do the dice roll so that it all hits. I think we should just finish it out. So at the start of his turn, he should die, and then we are just easy peasy, good to go. Bounty of 35 gold. Curse, deal 1 damage and add 3 weakness charges. Weakness reduces the damage of attacks consumed by dealing 1 damage. Just stronger, gain 2 power charges. So I can give myself power as the bassist. I do like that. It is free. The lack of card draw is the big issue here. 1 damage and add 3 weakness seems pretty good. Comes out of our healer, which typically is the one that I'm casting the least amount of power on. Of course, early on, having money is good. Let's just take some money since we don't really know what we're doing yet. We'll see how far we can get with some of these stock cards, and then we'll work from it later. Not having a good idea of what synergies exist yet makes it difficult. And the choice was low. 1 card for 2 different ones. Wild card, reckless bassist, lots of small random strikes. Okay. The bassist is back here, and then we have a tank again. 2 damage twice is actually quite a lot. Okay, so it's 5 damage here, but he has 5 armor. We're probably going to ignore that. So we have our power charges, so we're going to do our standard here, power charges, and then the dice roll. This should apply some poison, but it didn't. So again, I'm not certain why we're not applying poison here. It says add +1 to any existing, so they have to be poisoned before that works. That's a little bit of a bummer. We're now down to 4 here. I believe the barrier would only block 1 of that anyway. We have 2 left. We'll do the 1 damage twice just to go ahead and continue to burn some damage out here. And then we'll give him extra armor. We'll block our squishy just because it's free. No reason not to. I don't want to redraw that for no reason. He still gets rage charges even when he blocks with armor, which I think is quite nice. 5 damage and gain 3 rage charges is very nice. 2 power charges. So we have 4 energy here. Probably what we're going to do is buff, kill. Actually, we probably just want to kill. And then we deal 11 rage damage, which stuns, which means that he won't do anything either. So we're not doing any additional buffing, but we're keeping them from doing anything at all. We're going to monitor here that there is 6 armor on this. We'll see if that lasts past. So it looks like we draw 3 no matter what. So 5 armor to a single ally. Gonna be doing that. We're gonna be augmenting because the only attack we have is this. 3 damage 2 times, 2 6. And then we'll have 1 left and the dice roll should kill. which it will. Absolutely no damage has been dealt to us so far. Very, very easy. Again, I'm probably taking it slower and thinking about it more than I need to. Gain 1 rage charge for each health damage dealt by this character. Exhaust. So we would keep this stance until we took damage. 4 armor upon and at the start of each turn. And guard a single ally. I really like that defender stance. We haven't been taking a lot of damage yet, though, so I actually think we're going to go ahead and take this Bloodlust stance. It's also a rare card, which typically, you know, again, we're looking at rare cards being higher power in most games. Move on. I try not to overdo my decks. I'm technically a small deck person. That's going to sound a little awkward, but the smaller your deck, the more consistently you draw your good cards. I think that's why I'm typically not going to be buying anything, especially until I get a good feel with where the cards are going to go in a game. Berserker, an aggressive guitarist, lashes out in a flurry of strikes, powers up when you hit it in a stance. Okay. Bloodlust is a stance, and it exhausts. We are currently having some damage come at him, but I've got a barrier. Can I make somebody else go into that stance? No. Again, why it causes or wants me to target when I can't target anyone else, like, this is silly. Doesn't need to be there. All right, we have our stance. We are going to give him a barrier so that he does not lose that stance. We are then going to... We have 4 still, so figure out what we're doing here. We're just gonna give him power charges. Why is he still taking 3 damage? Okay, because it's 2 separate instances. We'll armor him again so that he doesn't take damage, and then we'll do 7 damage. This guy seems irrelevant to me. He's gonna go into a stance. We're gonna one-shot him though at one point. So let's just go ahead and spread some love and get ourselves powered up. We have 10 rage stacks already. Going to 13. Plenty of armor. Going to 16. Plenty of armor staying in a stance. Alright, so now we've got poison, so we can go ahead and poison this guy. We have 3, so we're going to draw blood, killing this guy. We're getting 10 damage, so right now he will indeed lose his stance. We can make him only take 7 once we do this, so that should work. I was hoping we'd have something that we could use to dump rage. This will work just fine, though. 1 damage 3 times. If they take damage, they're going to get poisoned here. Well, this guy's going to get poisoned. So he takes poison. He's going to go up to 4. He's now taking 11. Okay, because I buffed them. So that is unfortunate. That's a little bit my fault here. And it's reading the cards. We're at 24 rage, though. We shouldn't lose all that rage. So as soon as I do get to hit somebody, I'm going to destroy them. And we only have 4 health damage, so we should be able to fix that pretty easily. I don't really need to do anything here. This guy just dies. And the other guy can be armored. Dead. 5 damage. Cannot be augmented up. 1 damage 2 times. Could be 3 2 times. Could go to 6. Let's just armor up, and we will go ahead and give him the buff as well. No point in doing it any faster. We're not at any real risk here, and if we draw a heal, up to 4 health, yeah. Now, the question is, will I be able to heal here, or will it just deal some damage? We're going to test this because there's no point in not doing so, and then we can poison him out. So nope, he would just heal himself. Full poison, full dice roll. He would die to poison already, and then we'll finish it off. So nothing special here. We did finally take some damage due to a little bit of laziness on my part, not reading well. We shouldn't have done so. We shouldn't have needed to. So we get only 3 choices yet again. We have an epic support, double all buff and debuff charges on a single ally. That is going to be huge long term, I think. Deal 7 damage to a single enemy and add a barrier charge to an ally banned on armor break. Barrier if their armor breaks. Interesting, but it takes a lot of energy. Right now, this rune double is irrelevant, but probably would be really good on a boss for our main damage dealer. Again, we're just going to take some money here. We probably should be taking some of these cards. We're trying to get a good feel for what things are. We'll hit our first chest location. Tasty piece of slice, add +5 max health. Band gear. Each band member can carry 4 items that they can use. Gear cannot be moved after it's been equipped. Okay. Interesting. Long term, I feel like we're going to end up doing defense with this guy, so it would probably be best for him to take health. And we have DPS guys that could need that as well, but if this guy is our blocker long term, I think that's what we want. Band gear, overall band gear is interesting. I think that means we're probably going to end up with overall band gear. Now that might not have been optimal. We're just going to see. Heal the band, heal 1 musician. I mean, again, this should work regardless, but we heal 1 musician. He's the only one with any damage. We clearly didn't need a health on our pathway just yet. Continuing to fight. We're going to start this next brawl, and then we are going to go ahead and take our pass because it was 30 minutes. So I will go ahead and get this paused up, and I will give you some of my final thoughts from where we're at so far. All right. Here are my summary thoughts from Power Chord's first 30 minutes. I actually really did enjoy the overall gameplay. However, I will say I felt like it was a bit generic or a repeat on things that I'd already seen. Now, the theme was great. I liked seeing the rock and roll attitude to it. I liked having the fun named different evil demons and things that you were fighting, like the meat shield, for example. I liked the little events that were, gorillas-esque art, urchins giving me things. I felt all of the theme and everything was done pretty well. It was tongue-in-cheek. It was interesting. However, I felt like it was the theme that made the game interesting and good, and literally everything else was a copy-paste of mechanics that I had already seen in Slay the Spire, in Monster Train, in games like that. I'm not saying something has to come in and completely reinvent the wheel to be good, but for now, I am cautious on really endorsing this one because it did definitely feel like a game that I'd played before. It felt like it was a well-executed version, and that it really stands and holds its own with some of those within the first couple of minutes, but I haven't really seen a lot of the cards yet. I haven't really seen a lot of the synergies yet, and it's hard for me to know where the balance is going to go. If it's balanced well, if the theme continues to be strong, I think it is a good contender and could be a good game, but again, it's not going to do anything novel. That's my first 30 minutes. That's my thoughts there. If you enjoyed this type of content and want to see more from me, please go ahead and consider hitting that like button or subscribing to the channel. And as always, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you very much for sticking around. You're the kind of person that keeps me going and keeps me wanting to make these videos for you. Until next time, have a great time gaming.